lean in.
What's going on, everybody? It's me again, and it is time to lean in, bitch. Welcome to the Lean. I'm here with Sammy and Chad, and we are here to discuss the Real Housewives, Ultimate Girls Trip, Ex-Wives Club, Season 2, Episode 5, titled The Ultimate Thirst. And Child Thirsty was thrown around the entire fucking episode. I'm actually thirsty, but not like thirsty like that. I'm a little dehydrated, as I'll say. But what's going on, Sammy and
You
Chad?
sure? You sure?
Yeah, just a little dehydrated, Chad. Let me go ahead and pull up my book. How y'all doing? What's going on, Chad? Sam, how y'all doing?
Good. It's almost Friday, so I'm excited.
I'm
Friday.
doing
Okay.
great. I'm a little hot. Had to run in.
I know you rushed it in, Chad. Shout out to Chad. Chad rushed on in on Forest Child. I didn't know he was going to be here today, but I'm glad he made it. Danny and Jamie. Well, Jamie's having allergy issues, and Jamie's stuck at work, Chad. So, nonetheless, it's still going to be a good show. Of course, before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Just to mention, yesterday for Beverly Hills, we gained so many subscribers. I don't know if it was because of the episode, because we was talking about overall. Within a day, the channel has grown a lot. So if you're watching right now, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new, welcome. Still hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure you get notifications about all of our videos. We're doing as of next week, there'll be 4 shows a week.
Ooh.
So it's a lot. It's a lot actually. So, but it's good. It's all good. Good content. All right. So before we get started by this episode, the episode actually to me started off a little slow. But Charlie picked up so fast, and I was just like, I literally
Yes,
just
did.
finished watching the episode. That's why we were a couple minutes late, so bear with us for the time. But I'm glad I finished it to the end, because even up to the last second, the girls were fighting. They were literally fighting, and it's actually surprised me what actually happened. So I wanted to ask y'all, just at this point, episode 5, I think it's in 5 days. Which activity of all the ones we've seen thus far would you actually have wanted to do the most? Dinner, activity, anything they've done this far.
You know what?
To do?
I would have wanted to do the aerobics. I would have did Dorinda's aerobics.
Okay.
For me, it would have been the hot air balloon, but I didn't like that they were on the ropes.
Okay, you didn't like that they were like basically docked.
Yeah, that was boring. I've done a hot air balloon before, so I like the experience.
I've done it before too, and we wasn't docked, baby. We was moving.
Yeah.
That's the only way I would be able to do it is they tie us down to their house. I wouldn't have been able to get in there and just float.
All right, Eva and Brandy.
that was.
But
me.
you know what? That one was that little, I don't know what you call it, the area that they stand in. That one was smaller than what I did. Ours was much bigger because we were able to fit. I know it was 4 of us, and probably maybe 3 or 4 more. So it's maybe 7 to 8 of us in the thing. So I think I was just bigger overall. And we also did it in Egypt, so that's a different story. So I thought it out there. So I don't know, but it looks fun. I mean, Dorinda, again, for her to have this large property, she has found a way to do a lot of activities. So you said the aerobics, and what you said, hot air balloon for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it probably would have been the Prohibition dinner, just because they had all that damn bourbon.
So you wanted to drink.
Right. I love a chance to drink. All right. So in this episode, last week's episode, we finished off with Jill and Dorinda. They had their little spaz, and it's actually the first of many moments that they have, clearly, because it ends off last week, and I thought that was going to be the end of it. I honestly thought, even though Dorinda has not been very remorseful throughout the season, I thought maybe she would, talk to Jill. But in the next episode, Jill is kind of talking to everybody as they prep for the hot air balloon. She's basically telling everybody that, Dorinda hasn't spoken to her. She hasn't apologized. And honestly, I don't know why Jill is surprised, because, just look at, Jill has been there since all of the moments have happened with Dorinda and anybody else on the cast of this show. And she hasn't apologized to anybody. So I don't know why Jill thought it was going to be different for her. Maybe because she has expectations of friendship. But then later on, once Jill actually speaks on their friendship and how she feels about her, I still don't understand why. But that's one thing. But basically, Jill is kind of talking to everybody, and Dorinda walks up, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you can go ahead, you can talk." And it was kind of Jill looked. She didn't seem scared. I don't think she's scared of Dorinda, but I think there is a bit of fear of her, just more so as it relates to her drinking. Like she said, not that she's scared of her, but I think she fears her, just like anybody. If you see somebody that drinks the way that Dorinda does, and it's kind of like slightly jabberish and kind of unstable, I would be kind of scared too, just because it's like you don't really want. First of all, I really don't want to hurt you because you're drunk. That's how I look at it.
Look, you never know what they're gonna do. I think that's how she views it. You never know what she's gonna get from her.
Right, I agree.
I sense a little fear. I found it odd how she asked one of the girls to bring it up for her. Like she wanted to talk about it, but she was like, "I'm not gonna bring it up, but I would love if one of you would bring it up for me." That was a little odd.
But you know what? That falls in line with what she said later on about wanting to be a friend of the show. Yeah. I think that falls. She clearly doesn't really like to, and that's why I think when she was let go of the show, I didn't watch New York like that. I watched In and Out, but the times I did see Jill, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. She really didn't want to be a main cast member. She just wanted to be present. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how she is on this trip, up until now. What were you saying, Chad?
I was about to say, I think she also wanted somebody else to bring it up to see if she would get a different reaction, if that person would get a different reaction from how she probably would have got. Because I think she, like, when you know somebody, you kind of already know how they'll react to you. It's kind of like that saying when people say, I've been preaching this to you for so long, but as soon as this person comes up and says that you all of a sudden understand it, I think that's what she was trying to figure out, if she was going to get a different response.
Okay. No, I agree. So, I mean, the conversation that they have, Dorinda and Jill, this is the first one since the night before. And, Dorinda kind of sticks her gun and says, like, I thought you were being thirsty. And she says that Eva felt the same way. And I'm like, I don't think Eva said that. I mean, we didn't see her say that. Eva did say no, but I don't think she felt like the girl was being thirsty. But then you get everybody on the camera saying, like, Jill is thirsty. And I didn't quite understand what they meant by that. Like, when they were trying to call her thirsty, I'm curious to know what is their meaning of thirsty. Because, I mean, she's energetic. She, is going to find a way to make things not about her, but find a way to let you know that she's also done it or whatever it is. I don't think she's thirsty, though. I mean, I don't know what y'all think.
Thirsty? No. I think that she definitely has some type of remorse from being away from the spotlight. It seems like she wants to be a part. But like you said, we feel like she wants to be more in a friend capacity. So I think that the way she comes off sometimes is a little attention seeking. Yeah, see, somebody just said there's like a little attention seeker.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's what I would say, more so attention seeking. Unless they are not showing us something, I don't see where the thirsty comes from. Because like I said last week, she's been in the background, like not trying to have no attention on her. She's been there, but she hasn't been as present or trying to make herself the main focus.
Last part of last week's episode, she has been. Yeah. And now, in this episode, I'm like, okay, Jill, all right, girl. I'm glad that Dorinda making her work a little bit.
Right.
I mean, because I was gonna be like, well, she gonna slide by. I wish somebody would make Phaedra work. Phaedra, I'm enjoying Phaedra, but I do want to see her a little, a little spicy. I don't know.
A little frazzled.
Just a little bit. I don't know. Okay, so they talk. They don't really get anywhere. Vicky jumps in and basically says that it's not about you, what you said. It's about your delivery. She agrees that that her delivery was off and that she was being mean. And Dorinda, she kind of comes to the conclusion and said, like, listen, you can say I'm being mean. My delivery was off. I think you overreacted, and they kind of just leave it at that point. You know what I'm saying? At that moment, it comes back up again, which we'll get back to it. Phaedra needs wigs. I really wish she would stop these wigs. I mean, I feel like she's trying to. If I didn't know Phaedra and I was watching this, I would think she has a wig line or a wig business, because she's really pushing this narrative of wigs. Every episode, I'm just like, it's kind of excessive, especially because we know Phaedra, and this wasn't Phaedra. Now, given it's been a long time since she was on camera, but it's a bit excessive. I don't know.
She's trying to rebrand.
Maybe she got a wig line coming or something. Who knows?
Maybe so. If she does, it will make a lot of sense. But if she don't, I'm confused.
I I don't know if y'all watched Dubai last night, but she did mention that she's trying to start some new businesses in Dubai, and she did mention something about hair. I forgot, getting a house there and something about hair, but I forgot what to the extent of what she was saying. So maybe it could be a wig line coming.
Okay, that would make a lot of sense. So they do the hot air balloon. Eva and Brandy don't do it. Eva was working, but she also mentioned she was afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights too, but I mean, I've done it. I would have did it, especially because they were docked. They weren't really. It was high, but they weren't that far. There are rides higher than that in America. Roller coasters actually, than 500 feet. But hey, whatever. And then Brandy didn't do it. So then we get to breakfast, and Brandy is kind of stirring the pot. Brandy is basically talking to Jill and just saying, like, Jill isn't, she's basically saying something. She's talking to Dorinda, and she's basically saying, like, well, Jill doesn't seem over, and Dorinda's like, oh, we talked like as if everything was all good, and Eva and Jill kind of talk on the side about like the whole thirsty comment. About I guess what Dorinda said, and Eva was saying, like, I don't think it was thirsty. She was just saying, like, girl, you couldn't be in there. Like, I was working. It wasn't nothing to watch. And there was an interesting comment from somebody on last week's episode, and I want to read it because I want to ask y'all opinion on this and the whole Jill and Eva thing. But just give me y'all thoughts on this real quick while I find this comment, because I want to bring it to y'all attention.
I thought it was weird, but also I thought it was not weird, because I felt like if you're trying to get to know somebody, you kind of want to see them in their element sometime. And I thought that's kind of what she wanted to do. I thought it was just Jill making nice and making, trying to make friends with Eva per se. I didn't really read too much into that. I did think it was awkward that there was no audience and, she couldn't hear, but it's like, what, let me just get a feel for what it is you do.
I took it as her just being full of the liquor, because what were you possibly going to do other than just sit there and listen to Eva talk? Because like Eva said, she didn't get the big deal. You couldn't see, there's no audience. But speaking in that scene, I was curious to know, because Dorinda made a comment saying, I was told to look after her, make sure that she was not interrupted and she can do her work. I wonder who that came from. Did Eva give her that request to make sure?
You think somebody like in her production job maybe was like?
I thought maybe that, or maybe Eva, which is why Dorinda was so, harnessed on like, leave her alone, let her do this in peace.
It might have been
maybe Eva said something and we just didn't see it. I mean, we don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Because if you think about it, Eva's been real quick to run back to comfort Dorinda.
She's been a messy child. She's been going back and forth,
it's like,
back and forth. But she holds loyalty to Dorinda. She don't really. She ain't. Her and Phaedra ain't crossing Dorinda. That ain't happening. They seem to be on one accord. They're gonna do everything she does. It's they seem to be very loyal to her and slightly Brandy, which is interesting because now they're in the middle of time. But here's the comment from Claire Thompson. It was on last week's episode that we did, and it says, I actually understand where Dorinda was coming from, but she was too drunk to articulate what she was trying to say in an appropriate way. She said, I felt a little uncomfortable with Jill asking to watch Eva work. I got weird racial vibe, like, oh, let's watch the young black woman work. I don't know, but basically that's what she said she got from it. But she said she did get an uncomfortable vibe from it when Jill asked that, and maybe that's what Dorinda was trying to articulate. Did y'all get that from that?
No,
I didn't get it either, but I thought it was an interesting perspective. I didn't get it, but Claire, interesting. It's just it didn't resonate with me.
No, if anything, like I said, I feel like Eva is not a tenured housewife. She was there for a moment, so I feel like if you aren't like tenured to where you've been there for so long, a lot of the girls don't know you. I realized when Eva came in, they didn't really know Eva like that. So it's like, I really look at it as Jill just like, okay, let me just see what it is you do, who you are, what it is you do in your free time. I didn't get anything racial from that at all.
Okay. Going back to dinner, Vicky, so Dorinda's not there at this moment. And, Vicky is just talking about how Dorinda's been drinking excessively. And she's saying it's not just that night. It seems like also it was that morning based off of how she popped off on them at the aerobics or whatever. And Jill is kind of speaking to how she's been there for Dorinda. And she says again, even after she got let go from the show, she said, I called her, I checked on her, letting her know that I understand what it's like to go through. And I'm just like, this is interesting. Hearing these housewives talk about what happens after they let go of the show is very different. We don't really get that. We're getting kind of a behind the scenes, which we kind of got a little bit of in the first Ultimate Girls trip. But this cast is laying it all out, to giving us a wider eye to what the hell is going on. Because we're going to talk about something in a second. But on the side, Eva runs from breakfast. She runs to Dorinda's room. And Dorinda is just kind of just like, maybe I should just fall back and blah, blah, blah. Because Eva's just like, listen, basically what the girls are saying and how she didn't feel comfortable talking about somebody when they're not present in their house. I'm like, Eva, nobody's talking about her like that. I mean, it's a conversation. She just happened to be the damn host. It's a housewife. Yeah. Hey, come on now. Like, it's her house, but the rules shouldn't change because of that. And Dorinda makes a comment and she said, sorry. She says, I'm sorry, I didn't let you. She said, I'm sorry, I didn't let you film with me 5 years ago. And I'm like, like, what the hell going on? So it looks like, as somebody said in the comment, Jill wanted to come back at some point. And Dorinda didn't let her film, or I don't know. But like, what did y'all think when y'all heard that comment? Because I feel like their true issue is coming out, but it's stuff that happened back when they were on and off filming, because they both spent time off filming, on film. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Thoughts?
It's clear to me that they both know what the issue is. I just don't think Dorinda expected for Jill to come there with that. And it may be so that Jill has gotten there now and they've been drinking and having fun and the cameras are there, and now Jill is starting to hit her again to the point that she wants to be confrontational about it. But she's going about it in a way that's real, like she want to bring it up, but she don't want to feel the wrath of Dorinda, so she's kind of tiptoeing around it or so.
Yeah.
But Dorinda knows what the issue is, and I think that's why she's so frustrated, because she don't want to speak on it either. But she knows what's going on with Jill. She did make that comment about, I'm sorry I didn't want to film with you, but when they showed that clip, was it in 2020 at whatever party? Wasn't Jill there at the party filming with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I that kind of confused me, because it's like she.
Well, I don't know. So I know. So Chase, if you can join this, I want if you can join this live chat, because I know Chase is the New York guru. And I know he's about these things. Not saying that y'all two are not, but I know he knows New York like I know Atlanta and the others. I'll say that. So if you can, Chase, join the live at some point, at any point. Okay. So we're gonna get into this more, but they have a luncheon, and the luncheon is actually cool. They talk about who's dating who. Phaedra doesn't really shine light to who she's dating, but she says she's dating somebody. And Vicky shares that they kind of talk about Vicky, and Vicky is kind of like becoming this, not a Debbie Downer, but it's like, girl, we know you got broken up with. We don't need to keep hearing that you got broken up with. Even the way that she's saying it, it's just like, oh, feel sorry for me.
Yes.
Last week, it's kind of draining.
It's so annoying.
But they kind of revealed that Vicky has a very freaky side, which is not if you watch OC, you know that she's not clearly being herself. So it's not surprising. But they talk about her ex and how much she loved the penis, and there was a whole lot going on. And this somebody, who was it that said like he wasn't that attractive anyway? They was trying to make her feel through it. And I thought Vicky was gonna get upset, but she really didn't. So I was like, okay, this is a good moment. But y'all have any thoughts on that scene?
I thought that was one of the best scenes of the series so far. It to me, I like when they get along. Of course, we all like the drama, but I like when they get along and you can still see their interactions with each other. And it seems genuine. It seemed like they was really having a good time and enjoying each other. Brandy, I need those sunglasses. But yeah.
Sammy?
It was cool. Like y'all said, I just found it very annoying for Vicky to well, he just dumped me right before I got here, so it's the word she's using. She really wants him to feel very bad for her. But I kind of, when Tamara was explaining to her with Brooks about how they were so sexually active and basically feeding her all this attention to going to this man who hasn't touched her in 13 months. I mean, so I kind of get why she's like not feeling valuable, but at the same time, girl, you're on a girls trip. Let's enjoy this.
Okay. But that was a light scene. So back at the house, Eva asks Jill if, like I said, if she wants to be back on the show. And Jill says, she'd rather be a friend. She says that a friend doesn't really have to. Basically, they don't have to do much. They don't really have to open up their life as much. They just have to be present, and they're not the focal point. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting because, like, I do agree. You know what I'm saying? Based off some of the comments I'm seeing, and like just based off what she's given, it's weird that she's acting as if she doesn't want to be. She'd rather be a friend because she doesn't give off that. Her energy doesn't give off like she gives like she secretly wants to be a focal point. I don't know, like, and that's why I think even in this Ultimate Girl Shooter this season, she knew what the hell she was coming to. She knew who she was coming with. And she knew exactly how to get things screwed up. She knew that she can talk to people about possible issues with Dorinda. Because before, you know, if you think about it, Jill was the first person that started talking about her relationship with Dorinda. And I feel like Dorinda may have heard it from somewhere, and she found a way to bring it up her own self while being drunk. But Jill was kind of going on initially, if I'm not mistaken, about her and Dorinda's relationship. But in this scene, she basically said she'd rather be a friend of the show. I don't know if that's the case. Any thoughts? I'll move to this actual dinner because I broke this dinner up into 3 parts. There was a lot going on, a whole lot going on. Chat.
It was.
All right, so the New England dinner, whatever. They go to this place, and Vicky is on 100. She like, you know, everybody said the place look old, but Vicky's like, let's turn it up. Like, let's turn it up. And
whoop it up.
Huh?
Whoop it up.
Whoop it up.
Whoop it up.
Just
she
like,
said it's not turn up, it's whoop it up.
Right.
Whoop it up.
I ain't never heard that before. And you know, as they sit down, Dorinda starts things off, and she's just like, can anybody name a moment that I can't think of the way she described it, but it was basically like a moment that you felt like was just flabbergasting to her. And I believe she said that she talked about being put on pause. And she's still talking about being put on pause. This is the second time she didn't say it. I've never heard the word fired be used as pause, but you know what? Dorinda, she knows what she's doing. I will say. And she just basically said that she was dedicated. She put her all into it. She knows her work. She talks about when she got the call from Andy, and you know, she's just talking about everything. And she talks around in circles into basically about the trip and that they're leaving on Saturday. And in this moment, Vicky is like, wait a minute, I thought we was leaving on Thursday. And all the girls are just like, well, damn, Vicky, do you want to be here? I mean, she was just like, I'm just not used to being, you know, gone this long. I thought it was going to be shorter. I thought it was, you know, whatever, how many days it was. And so Eva's like, well, Vicky, do you want to be here? And, you know, Vicky's like, yeah, I just didn't know it was going to be gone this long. So Dorinda turns to her, and Dorinda's just like, so why'd you come? And Vicky's like, well, why did you host? You said you're so exhausted. And I'm just like, okay, go ahead.
Finally.
You know, from that point, she talks. Dorinda goes on this rant, a drunk rant, and talking about like, girl, like you went to the urgent care. You didn't have a gun wound. You got a steroid shot. Everybody's like, oh yes, and that steroid shot has helped you because clearly since that steroid shot, you've been a lot more fun. They talking about how much more fun she's been since the steroid shot. Sorry. And after that, you know, Dorinda's like, you need to be more present, and Vicky's just like, you know, don't talk to me like that. So, what are y'all thoughts on this whole moment? Because everybody has kind of told Vicky that she needs to pick it up. I don't think Vicky meant any harm in saying that she thought she was leaving Thursday, but I don't know how she knew she thought she was leaving Thursday when they clearly know the damn schedule of events. I'm just saying.
Right.
So to me, it may have been a little passive aggressive to be trying to, oh, we thought he was leaving Thursday because girl, you knew. But at the same time, they all just jumped on the whole damn table, jumped on their ass about it. It was just like, ooh, Vicky.
At this point, they're sick of her. The viewers are sick of her. I'm sick of her. It's just one of those things where it's like, girl, every time something comes around, you have something minor negative to say, major negative to say, something like everything negative. Is just it's just negative. And I don't know, maybe I've never liked Vicky, so my disdain for her is a little more there, but she just I felt like she deserved it. Like, girl, you knew how long y'all was gonna be there.
I was just annoyed because she for her to have been such the Debbie Downer when we got to the place, to the Red Line Inn or whatever, she seemed like she was ready to go in there and have a good time. Let's whoop it up, let's do this. And then all of a sudden it went straight back to, damn, bitch, why are you here?
Dorinda really annoys her. And I think
that could be it too.
I think Dorinda brings her mood down, actually. Like she looks for any moment when Dorinda's like, she looks for any time that Dorinda may come off as belligerent, crazy, drunk, upset, mad, rude, and she inserts herself every time. I mean, and it's crazy because when she had the moment pop off, what's that?
Who having a low budget moment?
It ain't me. Yeah, so I muted y'all, and it's not me, so it's one of y'all. Let me see.
I can hear you now.
Okay,
So,
so I don't know what that was.
It must have been you.
It wasn't me. I got a whole setup. But yeah, so I was saying that I think that Dorinda triggers her, and I think she looks for a moment to. I think it brings her mood down, and she probably went to the urgency care because of her.
That's what I was gonna say before that happened. In Vicky's defense, when she was saying like this place looks old, when she was making jokes, Dorinda did start kind of being like, it's not old, kind of being a buzzkill about the joke. So that could have been what set her off to like, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think do you have any thoughts, Chad 501, next part?
I said my thoughts on Vicky.
Chad don't like Vicky. Chad, you know when Chad don't use you, he don't even say your name usually, but he got to sit on the show, I guess.
I don't know. I really just I feel like people that I don't really care for were on this Housewives of Ultimate Girls trip, and I feel like all of them I actually like on this show. And it's still with Vicky. I'm still just like, girl, because I never really cared for Phaedra, but I love her on this show. I never really cared for Eva, how she was on the show, but I love her here. Same with Brandy. I'm like, okay, they all are bringing something. And Vicky is just like there, just like, you're not doing nothing for us.
Okay. All right, so then part 2 of the dinner is, I can't think of who the person it was because they be talking, child, but I know what they said. They asked what happened between Jill and Dorinda. And, Dorinda, I don't even know how, but she just kind of went back to, Jill just kept going on and on and on, and she's been thirsty and blah, 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 blah. And, from that point, she brings up the whole thing about when they were filming, and she's talking to Jill at this point like she's just a child. She's like, you remember you remember working, right? You remember, right? She was challenging her ass, telling her like, girl, I know it's been a long time, but you remember working, right? And I was like, ooh. And Jill kind of caught onto it. Jill was just like, okay, first of all, don't fucking try me like that. Like, don't try to do me like that. I'm like, okay, Jill, like, pipe up, Jill. Give it to her with this look. I love her accent, by the way. I love
Me too.
I hate it.
I love hearing her talk. I really do. Like, that is, she's Italian, right?
I think so.
I think, if baby, she belonged right at the Jersey Shore. That's what she said. She sounds just like that, and I love hearing her talk, but that's just me. And Jill just basically says, don't talk to her like that. Says that Dorinda was drunk, and mentions back on the show when they were on the show, one of the dinners that they had, showing that she was drunk then. And the scene that you mentioned, Sammy, is what we're talking about. Yeah. And Dorinda basically comes out and says, I was on a show that you are no longer on. And Jill is just like, well, you're not on it now. And she's just like, and maybe the reason why you're not on it now is because of me. In other words, and I'm just like, oh, these girls are fighting. These girls are really arguing. What about this? New York Jewish accent. Okay, New York, my bad.
Jewish?
New York Jewish, yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, she is Jewish. She missed the first event because of a Jewish event.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
It sounds a little Italian to me. It's just me. I don't know. And then Dorinda is basically still in denial of being fired. And Jill, like you said, she said maybe she said, I'm paused. I'm paused. And Jill is like, maybe you on pause is because of me. And Brandy interjects, and I'm like, oh, Brandy girl, why did you say anything? I thought she's gonna get gotten in. And Brandy says, weren't you just in our room talking about the funeral? And from this moment, it turns into a whole moment of whether or not Jill knew that the funeral was being filmed. Dorinda feels a way that the funeral should not have been filmed. I guess the whole trigger with Dorinda is death. That seems to be a thing for her, like anything deaf until later. And Jill said she didn't know. I don't know how you don't know that the cameras are there, or you don't request the cameras to be there, because I'm pretty sure if it's a funeral that you would not have had cameras there if you didn't want them there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got that, but that's basically what she says. And the two kind of just never reach. They never really reach a conclusion to the point to where Jill just kind of apologizes and they hug it out. So, what are y'all thoughts on this between Jill and Dorinda? Because it clearly shows right now it's very deep, and it got very. They broke the damn fourth, fifth, and sixth wall to let us know exactly what's happening. Because Jill even made a comment to us saying, was like, "Listen, if you talk to an assistant, are you sure he's my assistant?" Like, it seems like somebody is talking in production. Even Jill was like, you know, won't you call Andy right now? Like, call Andy right now. And I thought all that was like a very real moment. What were y'all thoughts?
I'm with Sammy. What Sammy said earlier about them both knowing what the issue is. It reminds me kind of Nene and Cynthia. I can't think of which season it was. Like how they would say things around each other, even though Nene would be up front, but they would say things around the issue to where they didn't really want to put it on camera of what was really, like, Nene would always reference Cynthia as being a mean girl, but we never really seen the mean girl moments much.
Yeah.
But their relationship reminds me of that. And that scene, I was just like, okay, is either one of y'all gonna say like what the issues? I really wanted Dorinda to really just say, like, really get with Jill in that moment, but I don't know. I feel like it still can be lingered on. Like, I feel like they can really expand on this even more on the next episode or the episode after that. I don't really know what to expect from them too.
Yeah. Oh.
I think Jill invited those cameras based on everything that they were showing. Even when they said, you can call Andy, and then they flash back to the reunion with Andy saying, well, we came because we were invited by such and such. So,
but I wonder why she would deny that, though. I mean, if she wanted them to be there, it's a reality TV show, then just say that. I don't get it.
But I'm also, what I've noticed with Dorinda, when she gets to drinking, she gets to mumbling on about Richard a lot. Maybe, do y'all think being out there in Bluestone Manor brings back memories of him to the point that she
I think Richard be taking over her body.
Yeah, because if you think about it, when the conversation of death comes up, she gets real, and then she's so disgusted that Jill would have the funeral film. It's just something real triggering to her about that. I think it may have something to do with her losing her husband.
Possibly.
Yeah. I think Richard is in that house. She needs some.
At this point, he might be. Yeah, he might be Marco.
She needs to move out of that damn Bluestone Manor and get the hell out of there.
I don't think
something comes of her, and it's very, watching it on TV, it is very disturbing. Like, I don't even know if she is even present when she's going, and she be going. I don't know.
Her drinking was entertaining, but now I'm starting to see why it could be a problem for Bravo, because
this kind of drinking is not entertaining to me.
Yeah, it's the slurring, and I'm like, she's
that
drunk.
might be why she's on pause. She might be on pause because of the drinking.
I thought Jill was referring to that. When Jill said maybe there's a reason why, because they were talking about her drinking, and when Jill was like, well, maybe there's a reason why, I thought Jill was referring to her drinking.
Her drinking was a problem on New York.
Yeah, I thought that's what Jill was referring to. That, like, you're not there because you're a drunk.
Yeah, well, that's essentially. I mean, that's essentially what Jill was kind of saying. Yeah. I mean, so many ways. And that's why I think she's scared of her, because she knows of her past as a damn alcoholic and how she's drinking and how she is now. And she's probably, I mean, and she knew her back then, whether she filmed with her, didn't know her, whatever. She was present in those days of Dorinda's dark days. So I think she hears that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's what I would think if I knew somebody like that. And you kind of seeing them, because usually people, when they have moments like that, they kind of stop drinking. They typically they do. But to see that, maybe it brings back memories. I don't know. But that's the only reason why I think she's scared. I don't think she was scared at that table. At that table, I think she was ready to go back and forth. But then I think at some point, I think she was just like, you know what, let me dial this back because she's a drunk.
Yeah.
And maybe because they're in her house too. Maybe it could be because they're in her house.
I've always thought that too.
I can't film the rest of the days because she didn't put me out the house. So maybe that has something to do with it too.
I've always
you think she really put them out the house?
I would be on a drunken rant.
I would say it's not far-fetched.
Child, that's why I don't like staying for places like that. Girls gotta give me a room because I ain't got time. I wish somebody would tell me to get out.
Right.
All right, so they kind of have a moment, makeup ish. I don't know, fake, whatever moment it was. But we get to round 3. Now, round 3, I don't know where Taylor came from. Taylor has been good. She's been cool. I don't know what came of her and where she got this thought process from to bring this up. But I guess she said, well, since they bringing up old shit, I'm gonna bring up old shit too. Listen, I got beef for her, and my thing is Taylor. So Taylor likes to, she clearly hates Brandy. But what I can say about Dorinda and Jill, I don't think they hate each other. I think they probably were once friends, and they have, like you said, a Mimi and Cynthia kind of relationship, to where they just have all these issues, and they probably it never would be back right, but they were once in a good place. Taylor and Brandy ain't never been in a good place, and Taylor be trying to talk to Brandy one disrespectfully, and she was trying to talk to her as if she should listen while being disrespectful. And Brandy ain't that girl. I don't know.
She never been.
Taylor, I'm not even giving Brandy all that, but Taylor, she should know better. So in this scene, Taylor, she turns to Brandy and she asks Brandy if she regrets putting the surrogate situation about Adrian out on season 2. Now, season 2 at this moment is what, 11 years ago or 10 years ago when they filmed?
Yeah, about 10.
About 10 years ago.
So like 10 years ago, long ass time, right? And first thing I'm thinking of, like, girl, that's not really your business. I mean, yes, Adrian's your friend or whatever, but that's not really your business. You're there. And so, Taylor just Brandy's looking at her confused, like she's always confused face. And then Taylor just going on and on and on about it. And she goes into saying, like, listen, in season 1, she said in season 1, when all the classy ones was there. In other words, it got trashy when you got season 2. So that's another jab. And what's up, Chase? And
hey, Chase.
And then Brandy, she basically, Taylor makes this reference and says, like, you're a cinnamon stick in an actually successful pot of water. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But I was like, baby, I don't think a cinnamon stick would last in a pot of water. For one, would it just dissolve? I don't know.
That might have been the reference.
But first, I didn't get it. How did y'all feel about her, I guess, confronting Brandy about that old ass shit?
The only thing I was annoyed at was that it was that old. But I was still on Taylor's side because, honestly, that is the moment that I stopped liking Brandy. When that happened, I was like, oh, yeah, she got a problem. I was like, this is good TV, but I really was like, Brandy is really trash. Like, and from that moment, I've always looked at her with a side eye of trash every single time. So I was like, Taylor, why did you bring this up? I thought it was kind of unnecessary because it was so old, but
yeah,
I mean, it did what it needed to be done.
It definitely did. To me, it was just old, and it also wasn't Taylor's place. I get it being disgusting and being annoying by it, but if her and Adrian had made up, or if, like she says, I didn't get, like, Taylor's point, you have no place in this situation to kind of come and be about this 10 years ago. Coming at me about our situation years ago, cool, but now you just picking at me for what?
Yeah. Well, and it's like Taylor's, the way she talks to Brandy is like she wants to teach her something, teach her a lesson, or
like she's a child.
It's always like she talking every time. It's never like she had not one conversation with Brandy outside of pointing her finger and trying to tell her something. It's just like, girl, chill out. Like, I get it. Y'all had we get it. But at this moment, this show was not necessarily designed for that. I mean, it can come up. And I think, like I said, because the other women are doing it, I think she's like found, like, you know what, let me talk about my shit too. But I guarantee you, if they hadn't been talking about old stuff in the past, I don't think Taylor would have brought it up. Because she had plenty of opportunity to bring it up. Every time they have a dinner, you notice Taylor talks on the side to Brandy about something. And this ain't came up not once.
Actually, she mentioned it to the girls that first day they got there, but they didn't show it in the episode. They showed it in the flashback that she mentioned, there was a girl. So, like you said, Taylor, if it's been on her mind, she's had plenty of opportunities to say something about it. But she did pick that moment because they were already talking about old ass shit.
Right. So then, Taylor at this moment, she drunk or whatever. She going on about how when she was on, they won Critic Choice Awards, and and this does all this thing. And Brandy kind of laughs it off, and Taylor's like, "Don't maybe jump over this table," and everybody's just like, sit down, like, Taylor, sit down, girl, you're drunk. And from that point, Brandy makes this comment. It says, "You know what, girl, you just like Jill and Dorinda." And Dorinda turns to her and is just like,
Brandy, you better back that shit up.
Don't do that to me, because you would basically, like, you are thirsty as hell, and it would take nothing for you to get back on TV. Like, you are the epitome of, I want to be back on TV, so don't do me like that. I think she even mentioned a reference of a damn threesome. Isn't like, girl, you would show up to a threesome. It gave very much so Kenya saying Marlo would show up to an opening of an envelope. That's what he gave. And
it was true though.
It was true. Brandy is definitely thirsty. She is the thirsty one. Yes. I will say, but she's always been thirsty. So, I mean, it's her.
It's her brand.
It's her brand. So from this point on, after that, Brandy stays focused on Taylor, even after Dorinda coming on there. And Taylor's talking about how successful she was, and Brandy's like, "Well, were you successful because your husband?" And did they cut the second part off?
It feels like they cut it off. I went back and rewinded, and
I was like,
I thought my
said it, but they cut it off. I said, "Hold on, let me see what the TV doing." And they must have didn't show it, but whatever she said must have been about the husband, which we know Taylor's husband's situation, ex-husband's situation is bad because of the abuse and the death. And the whole table's like, "Oh, whoa, that's so low. That's so low." So I want to ask y'all, was it low?
Absolutely.
I feel like a terrible
Was it low? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was low. It was low as hell. But in that moment, I understood where Brandy was coming from. Because, bitch, you saying how great the show was, this and that third, but it really made this happen with your situation. So was it really that successful? Are you counting that as success? It was low for Brandy to say it, but like Jill said, maybe it was Eva. Like, you throw something at Brandy, she finna shoot back at you. So you should have been prepared for that.
Phaedra.
It was
those kind of people. Those kind of people exist, and I'm not saying it's right, but I mean, Taylor, girl, it's not enough liquor in the world for you to be out here talking crazy. And I'm not saying it's right for her to say that, but at the same time, in a battle of shade and words, I think all things are fair game. Just leave people alone. That's just my mentality. This was something is going low, because when you go there with a person, should I have to restrain myself on what I say? To meet your standard? No, I'm trying to end you. I'm trying to end this argument, and so that's how I feel. But
I feel like it was low just because, I don't know. I feel like when you're good at what you're doing, you can go low without going low. Like, I felt like she was trying to hurt her versus just like trying to defend herself. Like, I feel like if I was going to go back and forth with you, I'm trying to defend myself while also ending you. But I don't know. I feel like Brandy she always goes low. And I think Jill was the one who made the comment, Brandy is a going low type of girl. So so I do think in that instance, you also have to be very mindful of who you're going at it with. So I think that's what Taylor messed up. If you already know that this is who Brandy is, that she does not mind, then you shouldn't have went that route. But at that point, it's like now Brandy has the upper hand to say whatever she wants to say to you, because she's gonna say it.
And it seemed like, and I don't know if she's necessarily trying to hurt her feelings, but it's like the way it just rolled out her tongue, like to Brandy, it made sense. Like, why are you labeling this success? However, in her defense, Taylor had already came off and basically called the girl trash because she refers to, we were classy, we were sophisticated, and here you
it ain't like Brandy rolled off her tongue, right? It was a lot before that Taylor had said. She basically said that the girl wasn't classy, like you said. She said the girl was a cinnamon stick. I don't know about the pot of water. whatever that means, it was meant to be an insult.
Yeah, she was trying to hurt Taylor. Like she had already. Taylor was laughing it off. I mean, Brandy was laughing it off, and then Taylor went to make fun of the laugh, and that's when Brandy was like, "Okay, well, here we go then."
Yeah, Taylor, like Sidemara says, Taylor knows this. Like Taylor knows who she knows her opponent. I'm just saying, this is not nobody new. She can't say she didn't know. She knows this person. You're going at this lady about her outing a surrogate thing. You thought it was so low. So what did you expect if you go at them? Otherwise, come prepared, or just come with some tougher skin to where that wouldn't bother you. I'm sorry.
But you know the funny thing, I do believe that Taylor, they know how Brandy gets, but I don't think Taylor was expecting that. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, so I don't think none of us were.
Yeah, that gagged the hell out of Taylor. You can her face just so yeah.
Well, Dorinda didn't like it. Dorinda was offended. Okay. Dorinda started thinking about every death in the world that has been experienced and said, you don't do that. You don't do that. That's low. And, Taylor tells Brandy to shut the fuck up. I'm using your words. Shut the fuck up, Brandy. And, Brandy is just like, Brandy is kind of getting agitated at this point. So she decides to leave. And off to the side, she has a conversation with Phaedra. And Phaedra asks her, so would you take it back? And she was like, no. She was like, no, I wouldn't. And, they have a little moment or whatever. Now, when Brandy goes back to the table, it sounds like everybody is telling Taylor, in other words, like, people grow, people change. Why are you bringing this up? Like, if she even said that she's friends with Adrian now, why do you even feel like that's something to bring up right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? It happened. Yes, it was Adrian was cool with you back then or whatever, but they're cool now. So whether she knew it or not, I don't know. But they basically were all kind of taken to Brandy's side of Taylor, you shouldn't have brought it up. It wasn't the time and place or whatever. But Dorinda circles back. Dorinda is just like, don't ever say anything about that. Anything about death. Like, how would you feel if your son died? And I have never really seen Brandy truly upset, but baby, she was upset. Like,
she was upset there.
Kind of was like, and I mean, at least we know she loves her children. I'll just say that. Children bring out I hate there are moments that bring out the best moments of Housewives, but it's usually from their kids and their husbands. That's where we get our moments. And Brandy really got really upset. So any thoughts on this whole fiasco? And Dorinda just kept circling back. Dorinda does not let up. And when she circled back, it's literally like she stopped. She starts right where she finished and just kind of goes right back. She don't even dial back down. And she don't even be hype about it. She just come right back to what she was saying. It don't matter what the moment is, how low, whatever, but she starts back. So any thoughts on this?
Like you said earlier, Dorinda knows what she's doing. She's very smart. I feel like she's a part of it is because she's drunk, but a part of it is also because she's like, let me go ahead and do this. And like, she wants that attention and that shine and that, that notoriety, in my opinion. So she does like very random things because there was really no reason for her to say that at all. And she just was like, let me get a moment too.
Yeah.
That was like literally probably the worst comparison she probably could have did to try to.
So unnecessary.
That was worse than Gia doing coke in the bathroom. Like it was terrible. But I can't say I appreciated Brandy's growth. I appreciated her getting up and walking away from the table. But I also enjoyed her getting pissed off with Dorinda. Like, don't you ever can make no comment like that about my child again. Like her face was all scrunched up.
Baby, that face like that. She
was she wasn't playing with Dorinda about that son.
I agree. And like I said, I've never seen Brandy kid like that. I mean, I was kind of like, okay, she is human because she never really takes anything serious, like nothing. You never really see her two-faced, so it was good to see her be bothered. And so I enjoyed this little moment when they walk off because she says, What did Phaedra ask her about? Phaedra said that lady can be your mama. She said,
so you me talking like that.
When I tell you, I fell out too because I'm like, damn.
I literally had tears in my eyes at work. Like I had tears in my eyes.
I thought she was much older myself. Not like that old as Phaedra thought, but Phaedra clearly in ages has always been off. But
Yes, always.
Not the best with numbers.
she's not. She's not. I love my homegirl, my birthday twin, but no, she ain't. Because that baby was coming out when
The
and
next
how
week.
the next day, whatever. But to finish out the episode, they're talking. Phaedra and Brandy are talking, and Dorinda walks up again and tells her, like, "Don't you ever do that." And not Dorinda. Brandy's like, "Girl, I will fuck you up." Like I'm like, oh, like I'm not saying Brandy was scared of Dorinda, but I clearly see that she ain't scared of nobody. At least Dorinda at this one, because she definitely was giving Dorinda the business. I think Dorinda had to touch her. She pushed off her and got in her face and told her, "Don't you ever." And I was just like, "Woo, child, this is a lot."
She told her, "You don't want none of this."
But yeah,
that's just said you don't want none of this.
I will fuck her up. I'm like, "Ooh, you know, when the white lady say I'm gonna fuck you up, child, you know that whatever they gonna fuck him up." But any thoughts on this last part before we let I think Chase and like a few callers on?
No, that was pretty much it. I thought it was a good episode. I feel like this season continues to get better and better with the episodes. It's a good season.
Yeah, I mean we got. I think they said it's 8 days, so I think either we have 2 more episodes or 3. I know I saw online when I Googled it says 7 episodes, but it may be 8. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think one of my favorite things out of all of that was Eva. She just could not take it. And in the end, when they went back and when she was like, "I'm gonna meet y'all outside," and then Brandy and Phaedra go out there, and you could tell some shit happened. Eva's looking around again, like, "What the fuck is going on with you?"
Eva was over. He was like, "Let me get back to my radio child." Eva was over it. Okay, let me let Chase on, and then I'm going to
Chase.
You call us Chase. You there?
Hey Chase.
Hey you guys, great episode. I just love how calm you guys are as compared to Wednesday night. You guys actually
Wednesday
talk
night.
It out like I just really like that. So I just wanted to first give you guys your props for like a great show and another one. In regards to Jill and Dorinda, people are thinking like it's because Jill introduced Dorinda to the show, and that's not so much it. Jill knew that she was blocked from being on the show when Bethany came back. And so Bethany quit season 12, and Luann and Ramona would invite Jill to film. And so Jill showed up to that Halloween event that they showed or whatever, and her and Dorinda got into it at the event, but it didn't make the air. Because Dorinda was basically like, they said, allegedly Dorinda said like, "Bravo, bravo, fucking bravo." Like how Denise did the bravo, bravo thing. That's a thing that they do, I guess. So she was like, "Nope, not doing it, not arguing with her, not giving her any time." And so Jill was initially invited to come that following weekend to the Berkshires, because every season that Dorinda's been on, they have a big Berkshires weekend. And Dorinda, I'm sorry, I just left the gym. Hey, look at me trying to lose some weight. Okay, like, anyway, but no, so Dorinda disinvited her from the Berkshires weekend and invited Heather instead. So Jill has had this thing like she just doesn't want me around. She doesn't want me on the show. And Dorinda's the kind of girl that like, this is the group, right? So if you ain't in this group, you're not in a group. We're not dealing with her. Fuck her. We don't know her. And so that's been a lot of that. Like Jill was really hurt that she felt like Jill is kind of like the Mariah or the Nene of New York Housewives. She basically got that show off the ground. She brought Luann in. She brought Bethany in. She introduced Dorinda. So like, it's kind of like her baby. So when Jill's husband passed away, he's kind of like the Greg of that show too. Like people hated Jill, but they loved Bobby, right? So when Bobby passed, the consensus was that they were going to film, but she didn't want them to film inside or whatever it was. And so basically, Dorinda said she wasn't going to film it, but Bethany wanted to film like her and Jill speaking, because that was a big deal, because Bethany and Jill were best friends, like how Cynthia and Nene were, or how Mariah and Claude were, and they had a really big falling out back in the day. So to see them re-embrace over Bobby's funeral was like a big deal for New York Housewives viewers. So the fact that that's even getting brought up, I can see why Jill wants to lie about it, because Jill lies a lot. So I can see why she wants to lie about it, because it's embarrassing, but it's also like Dorinda tried to take something that was meant to be touching for the audience and turn it against her because she has this weird fascination with death. Like Dorinda's fascinated with death. Like
that's what I'm saying.
that
That's
man
what I was saying
died.
earlier.
Yeah.
She clearly has death is like it's something for her. Like I don't know.
It's a trigger.
She
Death is
said
a
death
trigger
ain't
for
for
her.
play.
Yeah.
She was not playing. But I'm not going to keep you guys long. But that's kind of the crux of it. I don't know what else has happened, but that's just what we know. Like Jill was going all around the press saying Dorinda blocked her from filming. So
Okay.
Mm.
Well, I had to
All right,
get
you
you. I
guys.
know you the New York guru, so I said let me get him in here because I know you would know of anything. I just know what they show on the clips, chat. I ain't
Yeah.
watching whole seasons. No shade.
Yeah. Well, I know. Well, I mean, it's a good show, but I won't sit up here on my high horse and get to preaching about New York. Y'all carry on with the rest of y'all show, and I'll be in the audience.
All right.
Bye, Chase.
Bye, guys.
All right. So we have one call.